Hello, Ocean View 4th graders. Remember last time when we did our underwater scene on our Scratchboard piece and used our Scratch Art tool? Well, today we're going to complete our Scratch Art piece. And we're going to do the top half. If you haven't yet finished the bottom half, where you were using your tool to draw many underwater creatures in the bottom of the ocean or the bottom of your lake, go ahead and finish that today, because the main part we're going to do today is the upper part. So I have an underwater one where half of it is finished. This is a finished top half only. And if we were to put these two things together, you would see the difference. For one thing, the bottom half is easier. The bottom half is white lines with a black background. But the top half, everything looks black with a white background. So we are actually going to start out working the same way, but then we have to do more work for the top half. That's why I wanted to wait until another art time. So here I am with a completed bottom half. It's pretty good. I could have put a little more in there, but it's got a lot in it. Now on our top half, let's draw things that are over the water. Try not to draw houses and things like that, but let's use things from nature, like trees and birds and clouds and maybe the sun and all kinds of things like that, a little bit of land. The more things that you draw on this top half, the actual quicker it will be to complete the piece and the easier it will be. So you want to make sure that you put many, many things. So I'm going to start here by saying, remember with your Scratch Art tool, this time we do not really want to use the point very much. We're going to be using this little edge. But I'm going to start by just drawing things the same way I did on the bottom part. Okay, I'm going to put a tree in here because I know a tree would take up some space. I don't want to pull away too much on the inside because remember that this tree is going to be a black tree with a white background. That means I don't want too much detail in my tree, do I? I'm going to put it on a little island, a little piece of land there. And we want it, everything has to have some thickness. If I just make a branch like that, that's not going to work, because when I take away white around my tree, that's not going to show up. So I have to make two lines so my branch has some thickness. And I'm actually going to make some smaller branches. I'll show you my tricky, easy way to make a tree here, because I told you we're going to be taking away around it. So I'm going to pretend that instead of making every leaf, I'm going to make my leaves in kind of big chunky sections as if they're covering up parts of my tree. So all of this in here, which are my leaves, it's going to be black. I'm going to connect it. Let's make some smaller branches there. Okay, and I can even put a little bit of leaves in here. Okay, so there's I'm going to make it like these are just sections of leaves there. Okay, there's my tree. I want to put many things back here. I'm going to make a sun. Now, isn't this funny? I'm going to make a black sun, not a white sun. Why? Because I'm going to be taking away everything that is not the sun. Maybe it'll look more like an eclipse, huh? There. But I do want it to look a little bit white, so I am going to use this edge, if I can use the edge, That is the trick to this, is not using the point. Now there's another trick to this. Do you want to know what it is? If you've ever raked leaves, I'm in my backyard right now, and I have a big maple tree, and it drops lots of leaves in my backyard. And I'm going to make a cloud here, just so I have a lot of things to work around right now. Look at the clouds. And how about some birds? Now, I'm not very good at birds, so I'm just going to make my birds be like the letter V. But if I want to make a bird like the letter V, I have to make 2 letter V's. So here's 1 letter V, but it has to have thickness. Oops, so I have to make it, oh wow, I had a problem. Did you see what happened? I'll tell you how that happened in a minute. So it started pulling away my ink because I didn't use it well. I tried to go back and forth, but you can't do that. You have to rake like you're raking leaves. So you want to use not the point, but this little edge, and go in one direction. So I'm pulling towards me like a rake, lifting up, coming over here, pulling, lifting up. So I'm not going back that way. I'm just going one direction, towards me only. And then I can take away a whole section of white if I get faster at it. But I'm not going like this. It might look like it, but it's just because I'm very quickly here, pull, pull. And I'm just pulling back. I'm not actually scratching that way. If I do, I'll have a problem like I had here, where now it's pulled away a little section of my black ink. So I have to be careful there not to pull away more of it. Anyway, soon I can pull away everything around what I drew. And I want to make this top part white in the background. That means everything that's black has to have a little bit of thickness to it at least. So I can come in between here. Let's see. Some sections were not leaves. And whatever's not a leaf, again, don't go back and forth, just pull in one direction towards you. Okay, now let's go underneath this. Now you can see that if I didn't draw more things in here, I would have to pull away this whole big section. So that makes a lot more work. So that is not a good idea. What I want to do to make it more fun and not so much work is to draw more things in this section. So what you can draw in here, let's see, how about if I put more birds in here? And this time, let's make them more interesting. Let's make them look like they're wings on some birds. Let's give them a little head. So I can draw initially like I did before, my underwater part. But I don't want to give too much detail because, as I said, I'm going to have to take away. Okay, so now I can take away around that bird, pulling in one direction. If I use the edge, I can make thicker lines that pull this way. Sometimes people accidentally take away one of their birds or something. If that happens to you, don't worry about it. Maybe draw one nearby where you haven't pulled the ink away yet. But remember to leave some thickness to them or they're not going to show up. So it's better to think about them as shapes. And what shape are you going to leave? Because the shape is going to be black. If it's a bird, it's the shape of a bird. If it's a cloud, it's the shape of a cloud. Or if it's a tree, it's the shape of the tree. Right? And as you go, you'll pull away more and more and more until only the shapes show up. And the background is mostly white. You see how that works? When you get down to something like grass, you can make it go in a different direction. And go up and down like that when you're close to the grass. It's actually very fun and soothing. But take my word for it, you want to draw as much in here as you can. 20 things perhaps, to make it really filled up. And then take away, because it'll make it easier to take away in between. And when you're all finished, you will have a most interesting over the water and under the water scene with white on black and black on white. Okay, once again, your steps are this. Finish your underwater section. This section is white on black. Then begin the upper section by drawing many birds, trees, clouds, sun, and all kinds of things from nature. But please don't draw houses or things that are made by people. And remember that the more things you draw, the easier your project will be to complete. Use the side edge of your tool to take away the black ink from around your birds and trees and things you drew, so that this section becomes black objects with a white background. Remember, most important is how you use this tool, as if you're raking leaves, right? So it means find a spot, use this edge, find a spot, pull towards you. Pick it up, come back, pull towards you. Pick up in between. Do not do the scribbling. Come forward, back, forward, back, forward, back. And pretty soon, you have a nice white section around your drawing. Okay, and if you want to send me your completed project, I would love to see it. Here is my email address, Ms. Mary's email address, mernst@ausdk12.org. Have fun making your scratch art, and I hope to see some of your artwork soon. Bye-bye.